Hi everyone, this is Nick from TbT, www.airrifletuning.com. Today, a very short video, just what does the TbT kit do? I get asked this all the time, so I figured just a short video to show you will help an awful lot of people. First of all, the question most people ask is, will it make my air rifle more accurate? The answer to that is no, it won't. Accuracy is a relationship between the barrel and the projectile. Nothing you can do altering the internals will make it inherently more accurate, but it may make it more pleasant to shoot, reduce hold time, reduce hold sensitivity, things like that. So it's easier to get the accuracy, but it won't fundamentally change the accuracy. So that's that part. So what does it do? Well, when you open up a TbT kit, what you will find is a spring with guides in it, some grease, some washers and a sticker, and that's pretty much it. I mean, most of the kits we do now have the TbT premium springs. We make our own springs, UK made springs. They are great, they are better than the original. You will notice on the website now probably that we don't have the springless kits available to buy online. You need to contact us to buy those. That's simply because we need to check you've got the factory spring, or if it's not the factory spring, what size it is, because otherwise you'll order a kit, we'll send it out, it won't be the right size for the spring you have, so we send you another one out. That's not an issue, but it just delays things. It's a pain in the bum. So if you want one without one of our premium springs, you can still get them. Just drop me an email or ring the 0800 number on the box, on the website, everywhere. So what does this kit do? If we look at a Viroc piston and a spring, this is how it will come to you, and you'll notice that spring rattles, and then when it gets inside of the piston it rings it like a bell. That's what you're hearing when you're firing your Viroc. We call it twang, the Viroc twang. What you're hearing is just the end of that spring thrashing around. So the most fundamental part on a TbT kit is this top hat, okay, at this end of the spring. It fits snugly inside of the spring, it fits snugly on the latch rod. So now when you put it on there, it doesn't rattle, and as it goes in, it doesn't rattle. Everything is held centrally on that latch rod instead of thrashing about. Fundamentally, that's the improvement you're going to find, is that it's suddenly quieter, suddenly smoother, it's a thud instead of a badoing. Okay, that's the basics. In this little washer pack we have 3 washers, 2 with a large hole, 1 with a small hole. The one with the small hole goes inside of the piston first, and then it's called a slip washer because the top hat sits on it and allows it to spin. It slips on there. The kind of engineering plastic we use, the more pressure you put on it, the easier it slips. Why does it need to slip? That's easily explained. The spring, when you compress a spring, it doesn't just compress flat, it also unwinds. Okay, so as you compress it, it unwinds and expands outwards, and then when you fire it, it all twists back the other way. So without a slip washer in place, I noticed way back in the day, many years ago, on long range targets through the scope, if you had it up on high magnification, you could see the crosshairs move over like that on the shot. That's called torsional recoil. It's where the spring is twisting, it's grabbing the piston and making the gun cant over to the side. So that's what the slip washer does. It allows the spring to spin at the front. Now we get to the back. When you get your spring kit delivered, it'll be like this. The flange, the washer for the back, isn't on there, that's so it fits inside of the box, okay? So the spring guide's in there and the top hat's in there, and some people say, oh, I can't get the guide out. If you try and pull it out straight like that, you won't. That's because spring, as you pull it, it acts like a Chinese finger cuff. I don't know if you remember those, and it'll actually grip. The harder you pull, the harder it'll grip the guide. So what you need to do is just a clockwise twist, and that's a clockwise twist to remove it and a clockwise twist to go back in again. Always clockwise. If you don't do that, you can't pull it out. So clockwise twist and out it comes. Then we have the washer to make up our two-piece rear guide. This has caused confusion with some people, so I'll explain this one. That goes through there. You've got a recess on the back of that washer. You've got a collar here that passes through there onto that. Now some people have remarked, well, that's floppy. Surely, when that's in the gun, it's going to move around and it's going to create twang and movement. It's not going to control it. It doesn't. The latch rod here is always inside of that part of the guide. No matter where it is on the firing cycle, the rod never leaves that tube. So that tube, once it's in place, cannot move. Having said that, we've made it deliberately so it can move. If you were to put this into a cordless drill by the latch rod and spin it, the majority of pistons you'll find it'll oscillate. It isn't perfectly central. So this allows for the latch rod in the piston not to be perfectly central. And then the next part, it comes back again to the torsional recoil. You've got umpteen kilograms, newtons or whatever of pressure, of spring force, forcing this part here into the guide, okay, into the trigger block of the gun. So that physically can't move. It's got an awful lot of pressure on it, so it can't spin. But this bit in the centre still can. So as your spring expands, as it goes shooting forwards and it wants to twist, let me also mention another thing here. The tightness of the guide, okay? If they were looser, with this spring in particular, when you compress it, fully compressed, it's 0.4 of millimetre wider inside than it is currently. So here's a guide which is 0.4 of millimetre narrower than that one. You'll see it just drops out, okay? So when it's in the firing position, that's the tightness of the guide. But as the guide expands, it reaches this tightness, which is what we want, because we want to control the spring at the end of the firing cycle. But it's going to grab the spring potentially, and it's still going to want to spin, and you want it to spin to stop the torsional recoil. So that can be forced with all the spring pressure against the trigger guide, the trigger block, but still allow the spring to spin, so it's free to spin at both ends. And that's it. I know the two-piece guide has created confusion amongst some people, but I thought a little brief explanation of that would help. Besides this, you've got the two power washers. I wouldn't use them straight away. Most of the springs we supply in our kits are designed to do the power that you buy it for. The power washers are really there if you find that it's producing too much power and you reduce your spring, but you go too far. These are really to bring it back up. The grease is in there. We also do a product called Bum Slide, which is like that but with an awful lot more molybdenum inside of it. We do short strokes, which if you're trying to use a gun that is suited for more power than you're allowed, you can rein back the potential so it works better at your limit. That's in a separate video. But that really is it, the basics of a TbT guide set and how they work in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please get in contact with me, email me, ring me. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.